Hi everyone, it's Di here from Di's Den, and this is my midweek project. And the only reason I'm doing it midweek is because I was asked when I did my pinwheel card, and I showed this one, and I said if you'd like me to show you how to make this card, just please let me know and I will do so. So I'm going to do this one for you, and it's, as I said, it's going to be a midweek project. So it stands up like this. As you can see, you can't see very well over the top. My writing panel's on the back here and on the front like this, and I'm doing it in a Christmas one. I'm going to do it with snowflake wishes, which is carried over from last Christmas, because I absolutely love this. So I'm going to be using the two smallest snowflake dies, which I've already cut out, so I'll pop them back in there now, out of the way. And I'm going to use these tiny little snowflakes here, plus snowflake wishes for a Merry Christmas and May your season sparkle. So that's what I'm going to be using out of that set there, and I'm going to be doing it all in cherry cobbler. I'm also going to be using some of the new paper that's in the Sale-A-Bration. So this will go up before Sale-A-Bration comes into play on the 3rd of August. It's April, I don't know where my mind was. 3rd of August 2021. So if you would like to purchase $90 Australian dollars worth of goods, like Stampin' Up products from the 3rd of August, you will get a choice of items for free. I can't actually show you the magazine, the catalogue, but I can show you the papers. This is called Peaceful Prints, and this is absolutely beautiful. This was one of the free gifts, and look at these papers, aren't they gorgeous? There is actually punch coming out that will actually work with those. Look at that, that just looks like trees. Off they go, gorgeous, and nice stripy on the back. This is what we're going to be using, this one here. On the back, I reckon you could use that for like a man's shirt or something, and then you got Christmas trees with, you know, dots on the back, and then another one with snowflakes on it in green with like a leafy pattern on the back, which is very pretty. And then you've got smaller of these reindeers here in this beautiful colour with a nice checker on the back of that one. So that's one of the free items in the new Stampin' Up Sale-A-Bration, which starts, as I said, on the excuse me, on the 3rd of August 2021. Now this is a large card, a very large card. It is actually 8 inches by 6 inches, but it will actually fit into a C5 envelope. So I have some C5 envelopes here just to show you that it will fit into that just perfectly, so there's not a problem. Oops, get in there. There we go. See, it will fit into a C5 envelope just beautifully, so it will actually fit into those envelopes. Obviously it's going to cost more to post, or it does in Australia anyway, but that's the size envelope it will fit in, because this is actually 8 inches by 6 inches. So let me show you what we need, and I've done a lot of the work beforehand because there's actually a lot to do now. So let's pop those on one side, and I've got all my snowflakes cut out there and my sides. Okay, so some of it I will actually turn you off, finish it off, and then come back to you while we're doing this thing. So our main piece of our card measures 8 1/4 by 6 inches. Then we're going to need 12 pieces of our next layer, which measure 2 inches by 4 inches. Now because I'm using white, I'm not going to be putting a second layer on the back for my writing panel. I will do my writing straight onto that panel. So, oh, hang on, let's start with the right ones first. We're going to need 12 sorry about that, 12 that are 2 inches by 4 inches. Now I've got 12 of those. because I'm wearing my writing panel on that, I'm not going to be putting another layer on there. So you will need 12 of the next layer, which measure 3 3/4 by 1 3/4 inches. Now I've put my layers on those, so that's 3 3/4 by 1 3/4, and then we need 11 that measure 3 1/2 by 1 1/2, because we don't want to put on our last white layer, which I've got there, something, because that's our writing panel. We'll also need 12 pieces that measure 1 3/4 by 1 3/4, and 12 pieces of designer series paper that measure 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. Now I've put all of them together, only one of each that I haven't. So I'll pop them on one side for a moment. I have a writing, my saying for the front of the card. Now this is 1 inch by, I hate this that this was not turned over. And I can't turn it over this time, for some reason it's actually stuck, by 4 inches. So it's 1 inch by 4 inches, and I used my tag punch here to punch my tags on each of my fag ends. I needed 2 pieces of card that measured, let's see, about 1 3/4 inches by, this was 8 1/4 inches long. Now I needed 2 of those because I did the second largest and the smallest of the snowflakes, and they both came out of a piece of these. So you know, I had 6 of these and 6 of the other one, but whether I'll use all 6 I don't know. So that is everything we're going to be using. So let's get stuck in, and we will start by scoring our main piece of card. So I'm going to move my snowflakes so I don't damage them, and we're going to bring in our main piece of card, and on the 8 1/4 inch side we're going to score this at 2 inches, 4 inches. I don't know why, but cherry cobbler is very, very thick compared to some of the others. It must be to do with the dye. 6 inches and 8 inches. So we've got this little 1/4 of an inch. Oops, I didn't bring that in very well, did I? So we had 2 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches and 8 inches. So let's pop that down there, and we need to fold and burnish all of these score lines. So let's get that done first. With this small score line, this is just so that it will hold it together. So now we're going to pop some glue along that score line there. On that 1/4 of an inch score line. And we're going to pull this over on top of this and lay it down flat, get on there, and squish that down nice and tightly like so. Okay, so now we have our tube piece. So what we're going to do is we're now going to actually glue our 12 pieces of card onto this. Now I will do 3, and then I will come back after I've done that and show you what's going on. So we're going to just pop it on one side, and the best way to do this is to lay it on the side like this, and we're going to just pop some glue along all of this, and we do have to work reasonably quick because we don't want our glue to dry too much. And we're going to pop one on, doesn't matter whether it's the top or the bottom, but flush with the bottom or the top line here and the side, making sure that it's flush along that side and the bottom. And then with our next one we're going to pop this on, I'll turn it around, I'll find it easier, so that it is facing out the opposite way. Don't overlap them, because if you overlap them it won't fold. So So then we're going to pop one on that way, and then we're going to turn it back the other way and put our last one on the top, making sure that we're lined up on all three of them so that it now looks like this. Okay, so then we're going to turn it around to the next one. Now this is where it gets a bit harder, so you really need to be putting it on. So I'll show you this one, and then I will go away, do the others and come back. So keeping in the same method as before, we want one of these and we want to pop it up against that line there, and now we've got something to see what we're doing of, and along the bottom line there, so that it's nice and snug. And then one the opposite way here through the middle of that one and onto the side, again making sure that it doesn't overlap on this cut line, and then the opposite one at the top again. Once you've done that, you just carry on right around the whole section. So let me turn you off and I'll come. Okay, here we are. We've just done all of that all the way around there now like that. So we know that this is now going to lay down flat, and it is now measuring the same as this one here, which is the 8 by 6. So now we're going to actually, except for one that we're going to stamp on, we're going to glue our designer series paper to our second layer. So you will need 12 of these, which measure 3 3/4 by 1 3/4, and 11 of the designer series paper that measure 3 1/2 by 1 1/2. But we need 12 that measure 1 3/4 by 1 3/4, and 12 that measure 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. So we're going to pop all of these onto our card now. So I will actually show you how these go, and then we'll do the same again. I'll turn you off and turn you back on. So on our long panels here, we need to put our large one like so. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to turn it right over and put the top one and bottom one on this side, so that I remember not to put one in the middle, and then I will work around. Now that's only so that I can do my writing panel in the middle there. So now I'm going to turn that back over, and I'll pop these, and I'll just pop down this side. Now that's just because I find it easier to do it that way. It doesn't mean it's the right way, it's just, for me, it's the easiest way. Now, for me, it's easy to put it up like this, and I can see that on this side here I have 2 squares and one on this side. So I know that on this side here I have to put 1 square here. Oops, we only want one of them at a time. And another one in the bottom piece. And another one in the middle. Okay, so now I'm going to turn off, and I'm going to pop all my panels on except for on this panel here, and I'll come back and show you where we're going from there. Okay, now I have all my panels on there except for my writing panel, which is going onto the back here, as you can see, and all the other panels have got their bits on them. So when I lay that down, oops, sorry, when I lay that down flat like that, that one's there, and this is all nice on this side. So let's pop that on one side for a minute, and we'll stamp on our writing panel here. So, and I'm stamping here, may your season sparkle, sorry. And I'm just going to use a piece of scrap somewhere. Oops, I don't want to pop that in there. There we go. Okay, just a piece of scrap here because I want to pop some of these little snowflakes on the corner here, just to finish it off on the front of that. Now I've also done my writing panel for the front there, so this piece out of the way, I don't need that now, but I will show you how I did that. So first of all, I ended up popping this in here and making sure that it's nice and even, popping that off, keeping this piece, this is my template, turning it around, and as I say, we know who will get this one too. We'll stamp our piece down there, and then oops, let's pop the lid on that out of the way because we don't want cherry cobbler over everything. So we know that we need that about that distance away. So let's hold that there, and just with a pair of scissors cut along the edge next to it, and we can pop that out of the way, and then pop this back into the punch, making sure once again that it's nice and even. Whoops. And there we go. One's a little bit bent. There we go, that's better. So that's our sayings, sentiments. So let's pop that out of the way. Let's pop these onto the card. So we'll bring our card back in, turn this over, and put our writing panel on the back here. So we'll glue that onto the back of the card here. And then I'm going to pop my pin into the glue so that it doesn't dry out, because it's a bit warm in here now. So let's pop the pin in there so my glue doesn't dry out. Oh my goodness, I hate this pin on this one. So that's our back of our card for writing on. The front of our card is here, so we're going to pop our little saying up on some dimensions. So I've got some dimensions just here, so I'm going to pop them up on dimensions, and I'm going to pop it on an angle across the middle of the card. And then with my snowflakes, I don't know how many of these I'm going to use, so we will just pop a couple of the little dimensions onto the back of them, and pop a few onto the card. Oops, that was a little bit high. Get off of there. There we go. And another one at the other end here. Stand up. Now I did cut 6 of these out, but whether I use all 6 or not, I don't know. So I probably won't. Probably use those 2 small ones, and oh, wrong side. Actually, I should have put that on the other side. That's it, onto the square. So let's see. So I won't need all of those after all, but once again, we know who will end up with all of these extra bits. Saves Mum from having to cut them all out. So let's pop them out of the way. Oh, come on, get out of the way. And then I've got some nice little gems here. These are the basic rhinestones, so we'll pop some medium-sized ones, I think, into the centres of those ones, and some large ones into the centres of the bigger ones. Wow, I'm really pleased with the way that's turned out. I hope you've enjoyed that. I know that a few people asked me for this one, so I'm hoping that you will have enjoyed this. And it does, it looks absolutely gorgeous. I love the way it has turned out. So that's my card for today. Here's the original one that I did. This one is my prototype, so you can see I did it in cream in the middle with green and pretty papers on there. But no, I do like my Christmas one too. And I can actually put this one onto my Christmas blog hop as well, because it's just all current products. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you would like the written tutorial for this card, you can just head over to Di's Den for Stamping, Crafting and Tutorial. You'll find the link down below. Don't forget to leave me a comment and a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this project. I'd love to hear from you. As I say, if you want the written tutorial, it is written in inches and centimetres, so both Imperial and Metric, and as I said before, it will fit into a C5 envelope, which is 162 millimetres by 229 millimetres. Oh, yeah, 229 millimetres. That's Australian sizing. I'm sure that it's the same size in Europe. In the US, I'm not sure what sizing that would come under. So it will probably be a 6 by 8 inch, whatever a 6 by 8 inch envelope is called. So I hope you've enjoyed that again, and bye for now. Bye!